Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Friday night live chat. Tonight we have an extra special guest. Chattanooga is here. Welcome. Thank you for being here on the stream. I really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. Normally, I'm over on your side. I'm asking the questions, so
well,
I'm not in my element.
Feel free. I would like to pick your brain about everything, but whatever you want to talk about, I'm game for.
Okay. Well, why don't we'll talk about, I guess, my fish room first.
Yes, your fish room, I guess, studio fish room looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Really good.
I've been working on it for I'm a super patient guy, so I try to get things done super slow, but I try to get it just how I like it. Because in my past life, I went fast, and then I was never happy, and it's really hard to drain tanks and remove them.
Yeah. Every time I want to, touch up paint or rearrange, I always try to coordinate it when my tanks are the dirtiest. So when I drain them, I can move them and do everything at once. I don't want to rearrange the fish room. Everything's looking really clean. But everything you're doing looks really good. Are you done? Do you still have some stuff to finish up?
I've got these, this part of the room is done, what you see behind me. On this wall that you don't see, well, I could actually just pardon a little bit of the mess, guys, but I've got a whole wall here that's, whoa, I almost knocked over my water.
Oh, no.
Work in progress. That's where he's going with this, folks.
It's all just blue. So I'm going to be doing tanks on that wall. And
your color scheme.
Yeah. And and I put a lot of time into the color scheme too. All these walls I put up was white paneling. This is in my basement. And I took the aqua kind of green paint and put it on a roller. And some's thick, some isn't. It looks kind of weird if you just look at it without the tanks. So it looks like a sloppy job. But I don't paint the backs of my tanks anymore, and it just makes a great backdrop for the back of your tank.
It does. Because I'm assuming I'm in the basement too. I have cinder block walls. And it's still, I guess it's concrete.
It's a basement.
It's a basement.
Yeah, mine was concrete.
So when you paint it, it's whatever. When you paint it, it doesn't always close up. It always looks a little sketchy. But on live streams, it looks way better than it does.
Yep.
You have that same problem too. Because I never know what's exactly prime with it, and I don't want to make it drywall because that's a mess. So I try to make it look good as I can, but yours looks way better than mine.
Well, I just put paneling up. It's that white, cheapest paneling you can possibly buy. It has ribs going down. Yeah. And it just works because sometimes some ribs get more paint, some don't. And
Yeah, we're going to use some really cool type paneling to finish kind of staircase eventually one day. It looks kind of like a barn wood, but it's totally paneling.
Yeah.
But it'll look good to line the staircase. But
I love using paneling for different things. So I used to have a photo studio, and I use paneling for different backdrops, like artificial bricks and stuff. And down here in the South, they don't have as much paneling. I don't know why. But I wanted to do bricks because I thought it would be really cool to have bricks that were painted all around. Yeah. But I just couldn't find it down here.
Huh. Do you like it being better in the basement, temperature-wise?
Oh, it's amazing. I don't have any windows. And so I put a vent in to keep the humidity out, to suck it out all the time. I turn the vent off only during live streams because I don't want that. It's a bathroom the bathroom vents.
Yeah.
But that pulls a lot of the the humidity out. But I only have 4 heaters in all these tanks, and it's keeping the whole room at about 76 degrees.
Yeah, I've been taking a lot of my heaters out. I felt like I needed them. It was like a security blanket. My hang on the back filter and my aquarium heater in every tank. And I just don't feel like I need them. Even in the winter, it's still a little colder down here in the winter, but it's still warmer than anywhere else in the house. So yeah. I feel like moving it down here. Sometimes I wish I had a window so I could see outside, but overall it's a much better place for the fish room than upstairs in the dining room and wherever I could put a tank.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthony, that is Chattanooga Ed. Hi, everybody. They're just blowing it up.
Well, that's why I have you here. You're supposed to read the chat.
I am. I have been. Hello, everybody. They ain't going to say hi, but I will.
I have my contacts in, and I have a very limited range of sight. So I have my buddy here to help me read words because I cannot see the words on the screen.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I have to. Oh, I don't know where's my glasses.
And as I get older, it seems like my eyesight. I'm like, oh gosh, it's getting worse.
I'm the same way. I have great vision, like past 2 feet, but everything 2 feet and closer is just blah.
I can't see either or.
Oh.
I'm horrible.
She's just straight up blind. That's how she ended up with me.
Yeah. It's a joke. I'm like, oh, you're pretty.
Well, you're probably a good person to sell fish to then.
Yeah, because...
Trust me, these are good looking.
Yeah, trust me.
These.
Yeah, you really want these.
Yeah.
Oh, too funny.
But you are... Well, first off, I want to talk about your trip, too, because you just went on a pretty awesome trip down to Florida from what I've seen and heard and watched. Did you, pick up the most awesome, just maybe substrate secrets or just tips in general that you can share with everyone?
Well, with Father Fish, I have done I really love Father Fish a lot with his sand cap is basically what it is.
Yes.
And he takes organic soil, and about half of my tanks are his, or I mean, his style. But when I built this fish room, I purposely tried to buy every type of substrate there is and do a different tank. And in a year from now, I'm going to do a video and say what works and what doesn't. And I can tell you what doesn't right off the bat. This tank down here, see, it's always cloudy. Now it's a cap, but I used playground sand.
Yeah.
And apparently playground sand has a lot of clay in it, and I put Cory cats in there. And the Cory cats just constantly keep it stirred.
Yeah, the sand that I like the best is paver sand or I think it's Supernaturals or something like that from PetSmart. The one you can get for tanks. But I like paver sand a little bit better than the playground sand for my particular fish room.
Now, is there a lot of dust in that?
You still have to rinse it.
Not in paver sand.
Well, you still have to rinse it. I still rinse it a few times. But I feel like there's more calcium carbonate in paver sand. So I guess I'm assuming it's so it doesn't rinse away when you're using it under your sidewalk blocks or something. But when I want a cheaper sand, that's the one I go to. I have it all too. I've bought everything. I have bags of everything.
I'll field this question.
But I like paver sand the most for a cheaper version at least.
Paver sand has a lot more limestone in it because it's made for a compaction rate.
Awesome.
Whatever he said.
Well, you did some type of term paper or something on.
Yeah.
Now, was that on the limestone?
No, for my particular project, I had 4 tanks. I had 2 gravel and 2 sand. And out of those 4, one of each type of substrate was stress-free and one was stressed. But it seemed like the sand one, even with like stressing the fish, I never had as many algae problems, even on the glass. Like it was just always a little less, had a little less algae in it. It still looked dirty because it's sand, everything settles on it. But I'm assuming because it's sand and it's a little bit compact, there's a type of bacteria that doesn't require oxygen and one that does. I'm assuming it had a little bit more oxygen or bacteria built up in it. But I just know personally I don't have as many algae problems with that particular type of sand.
Well, I'm going to have to check it out. And I may have to get it in Missouri, too. It's bizarre. You know, Tennessee and Missouri, they butt up. But I'm all the way on the other side. I'm down by Georgia. I'm in a different time zone now. And even our sand is different. Like your sand is like dredged a lot of times from like by the rivers and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really pretty sand.
Yeah.
The sand here is just not pretty. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Yeah, we have a lot of rocks here. A lot of
when they dredge ours, that's where you get that high concentrate of limestone and calcium mix is because of that.
But we always, no matter how hard I clean and scrub and razor blade my tanks, I always have hard water stains and calcium and limestone buildup and whatever type of buildup you could possibly get on a tank. I have it, and it comes back within like hours.
Yep, I lived with that for 30 years, so I totally understand. Well,
Like
my old house, my old house had a quarry in the back, was an abandoned quarry. So
it's crazy. Yeah, there's always something to clean.
I don't miss that. In Tennessee, the water is a lot nicer or softer in those regards. I don't have to scrape the calcium.
I'm trying to keep track of who has what type of water now, because it's hard to remember. Okay, like you have this type, but all I know is that
the fish love it. The fish really love it. It's hard to maintain. If you maintain your tanks perfect, that's a nightmare. But the fish absolutely enjoy it.
Yeah.
The fish that Carrie particularly is keeping.
The live bears love it.
Yeah, they love that hard water.
I feel like some of the Tetra do better. I've been trying to put this one behind Jesse. It's the Carrie Tetra tank. And I want to start putting a lot more of just botanicals in it because I'm not sure if they're such a fan. Like they look good. They're swimming really well, but they're just not. I don't see any breeding happening. So, but the live bears love it.
Yeah, well, African cichlids love it too. I used to have lots of them in Missouri. And here, not so many.
I had cichlids when I was younger, but I couldn't tell you what kind I kept. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about them, but I knew that they moved and redecorated the tank how they saw fit. Like, there is no aquascaping their tanks. They aquascaped it how they wanted it to be.
Yep. There's 2 tanks in this room that have no plants, and those are the 2 African. Well, actually, South American African, but they're cichlids, you know.
Because you pretty much have live plants in all your tanks besides those 2 then?
Yeah, I absolutely love plants. They are just, you know, they're the coolest filter in the world. They do so much good. There's no negatives. The plants, I mean, maybe trying to
keep them alive.
Yeah, when they die. That's the thing.
Like, what am I doing so wrong? But I'm like you, I guess. Like once I got the bug for live plants because I always kept plastic stuff growing up. It was just never thought about it. Never thought about it. So when I started, I just started going crazy and trying to get everything as fully planted as I possibly could. I even tried with the arowana upstairs. And there's like one sprig of something left, but it's not so much the arowana as that dang pleco. That pleco is so destructive. I love it to death, but it's so destructive. But that pleco is the one that's causing the most havoc. But I know you're doing kind of you did a countdown of like kind of your top 5 plants, but is there some that you're having better luck with overall than others?
Well, you know, you love Anubias because I can't kill it, you know, and Water Sprite or Water Mysteria, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I originally bought it from my local store and I planted it and it died right away. I thought, but a little piece of it floated to the top and I'm like, I'll just let it float.
Mm-hmm.
I have just a ton of it now. I have that in my 200-gallon tank floating because I've got geophagus in there and they'll pull up my plants in that because of sand. And so,
yeah.
But it's a canopy and it's almost a foot of, it's a tall 200. So it's like 4 foot tall. And the top foot is all plants. It's really cool. Maybe they come down almost 2 feet. And so my Beischer loves it because he just likes to stay up at the top. And
yes.
So,
go ahead.
Well, it's great for fry. If you throw it in your tanks, you'll see fry on top of the leaves that are just right up against the water where no fish can see them. It's so cool.
It seems like that does really well in my fish room. It'll look amazing and beautiful, and then all of a sudden it'll melt kind of back a little bit, and then it'll kind of come back up, and then I feel good, and I'm like, oh, that looks good, and then it'll kind of melt back a little bit and come back. Is that what it does with you, or do you just have good luck with it no matter what?
Well, as long as it's getting plenty of light, it's good.
Yeah. Well,
but as soon as the duckweed gets over it, it starts to melt real bad.
See, I think I give it too much light because I have an inability to turn off the light. And this one behind me, the one that's really bright, it's that tank right there, that 20 long. It's got a bunch of guppies and shrimp in it. And it'll take over. And then for like about 6 months or maybe even up to a year, it'll look really good. And then it'll kind of go away. And then it'll come back. So that's the reason, because I watch Father Fish. He always comes on when I'm cooking breakfast for the kids before school. So I've been watching him, and I feel like now everything needs a sand cap of 1 inch. So I have a feeling, because they have been, and even this Tetra tank behind me, they've been established for a good couple of years now. Even before those fish, they were set up. So I feel like I need to kind of cap it and add something to it, because I've been using Easy Green, and every so often I'll put some root tabs in there every so often, but I don't know.
He had it so handy. He's like, yeah, for sure.
Easy or Easy Iron too. And
I want to try that.
Let me get it here. Scoot over. I'll show you. I have it all, but I don't know if I'm using it right. But I have. It's right here. But I have this one too.
Nice.
And then this one. And then.
Now, how does that work? Do you see any big growth on that?
Of my algae. That's the reason I feel like I got those two. I feel like I'm not using it right because Corey's really smart and he knows what he's doing.
Yes, he does.
So, and how I was doing it is I fill up my 50-gallon trash can with water, my clean water tub, and then I'll add the Prime or whatever water conditioner I have at the time, and then I'll add my Easy Green and everything else to that tub, and then just add it to each individual tank. So I don't know if I need to not do it that way.
That's not how I do it.
Or just
I literally do
each tank, and then just because I was squirting it in each tank as like a 20-gallon 2 squirts, but I felt like I was overdoing that too, because sometimes I'm like, well, it's a 20 gram, maybe 3 squirts will do good too, you know.
Hey, DMC's in here.
But
I'm gonna step out for just a second. I got myself a visitor, folks. Yeah, I got my big giant boy here.
The kiddos came down the steps. I saw on foot. Be quiet.
Well, I do the tub method. But I don't add anything except for Prime into that.
Okay, just
I do. Yeah, in some tanks I only do 1 squirt. In some tanks I do almost 3. I measure it more by the plants than the water volume.
And do you do it once a week, or just every time you water change, or just every couple of days you add it in?
It really varies. Sometimes I when I first start off, I do it once a week.
Okay.
When I first start, but once I get going, I'll probably only do it maybe once to twice a month.
Okay.
After a water change, and that's it. But
because I feel like I have too much nutrients, too much light, and not enough substrate.
Well, I overdo the substrates.
I
really do.
See, it's a habit from childhood. My dad always said you only need 1 inch of substrate for whatever tanks. But now I'm kind of retraining myself to thinking that you can add more than just 1 inch. You don't have to like have this childhood rule that, you know. So the last tank I set up, I did like a lasagna. I did some old substrate, some fluval stratum, and then I capped it with 2 different types of sand for the blended tank, and added some. The Vallisneria does really well in my aquariums. I can add that to anything, and it just takes off. I love it. So, and they had some babies not too long ago, so I was super excited about that. But we'll see. I'm trying. Each day is a new day. Each day is a new video, and learn something new from the fish fam. But your tanks look so good that I was like, I've got to pick your brain about it because you're doing something way better than me.
Well, one part is I try a lot of plants. I really do, because there's a lot of things. I've killed a lot of plants in the last year. First I started a farm tank. Where I just grew plants.
Okay.
And that was going really well because you really learn a lot when there's no fish in there, just a few snails and shrimp. Oops.
Sorry. The kiddos are all calling at the same time. Hang on. Sorry.
It's okay. It scared my cat.
Well, I know the cat was getting into your drink. Last time I thought I saw you on a live stream, I was like, oh, I know that. My dang cat.
Mm-hmm. I have 2 of them. This one, she's a lot nicer. But the boy cat, he is so ornery. I don't know where he is right now. He's probably doing something bad.
We have a barn cat, and we've had it since it was a baby kitten, and I think we've raised it around too many dogs because this cat doesn't really act like a cat. It doesn't know that it can, like, jump. It just walks around everything like the dog. But it likes one particular fish tank in my fish room, and I'm waiting for it to fall in, which is probably really bad to say. But it just perches itself on this bottom tank right here. And it doesn't do anything to the fish or the plants or anything, but it's just likes to, I guess, the trickle of the water. But it's obsessed with this one tank. And I'm just waiting the way it perches itself on that tank before it's going to fall in or something's going to happen.
It sounds terrible, but it's so much fun to watch.
I had a dog outside that it was obsessed with the pond, and every so often I would go outside and it would just be like, it wasn't doing anything to the koi or anything, but it would just be standing in the pond. I was like, are you hot? Like, are you trying to cool off? Like, what are you doing? But yeah, it was some kind of boxer mix, but it was Jesse's son, and then he took it back to his mom's house. But that dog was obsessed with just cooling off in the koi pond, I guess.
Well, that'd be pretty nice, though.
Yeah, I guess it felt good. It can get pretty hot here sometimes, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, and, boxers, I don't know if they have much body fat, do they? They might be one of the dogs that sink. I know bulldogs sink. Do they? This pond isn't deep enough for it. It's only a couple feet deep, but it would just be standing there. It'd just be standing there hanging out. It's like, okay. It never did anything bad, so okay. Oh, here comes the ornery cat. Oh, he stopped. Now, as soon as I mentioned cat. Oh, he wants my water.
All animals. They're all endearing in their own way, but sometimes.
Yep. Well, how I found out about dogs that can't swim was my sister has an English bulldog, and it was walking too close to the pool and just fell right in, and it just sank like a rock.
That's awful.
And that my brother-in-law had to jump in and get it, but it was on the deep end, and it's like 11 feet, 12 foot. And he had a heck of a time trying to pull this bulldog up. But
yeah, I can imagine. That would be terrifying to walk out and see. That would just, yeah.
Well, luckily, we all watched it. You know, we all thought it was funny because he kept walking closer and closer, and he was looking at us, and and we all laughed. And then we didn't see him come up, and we all ran there, and he was right at the bottom of the water. It's so weird.
Jeez.
But then, Henry pulled him out of the water and put him up there, and he kind of coughed a little, and then he went back to his business.
He's fine. He's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Just feed me, and I'm good.
Yep. How gassy that dog is, you'd think he would float.
Yeah, bulldogs and pugs. I've been around a couple of pugs. It's like, oh my gosh.
That's their two types of dogs they have, is a bulldog and a pug.
I'm like, you're so adorable, but you stink a little bit. I have a long-haired Chihuahua in the house. The other dogs are outside dogs, unless it's cold or they'll come in. But little Pepe, we named him after Pepe Le Pew because he looks like Pepe Le Pew, but he peed on everything as a puppy, so we named him Pepe Le Pee Pee.
Nice.
But now he's just he just thinks he's one of the kids. He gets by with whatever he wants. But he's too spoiled to come down the stairs himself. He's never too much of a bother in the fish room because he's too lazy. Unless someone carries him downstairs to the basement, that dog ain't walking down here.
I totally understand that. My little cat always wants me to carry her down the stairs.
Yeah, when we had Midnight, our cat, Midnight, when she was first here, she was so tiny, we'd carry around in like our hoodie, like hood, and just carry her around all day, and she would sleep in that little hoodie pocket or, wherever. I was like, oh, you're so cute. And then she grew up and became an attack cat.
Oh, a bad attack cat or a good attack cat?
It just depends on the day.
Oh.
It just depends on the day. Sometimes she's a little sweeter than others, but she came from Jesse's parents' barn as a kitten. But she thinks she's a dog. But every so often she'll get these energy boosts, and you'll just see her attacking random things. Sometimes the shadow on the wall, she'll just attack the shadow. It's just she's an interesting cat. We love her. She's part of the family. But she's a different, and she's all black with these really pretty golden eyes. She's really pretty, but she's crazy.
Well,
do you still have all your summer tubs outside?
I do. I actually made a video today.
Did you?
I already posted it. It's a super short one. It's only 3 minutes.
I'm so bad on videos. I feel like I'm never going to get back on track.
Yeah. Well, what happened was when I was out there yesterday to feed them at night, I noticed all these little bitty frogs all over the water hyacinth. And they're little tree frogs.
I've got tons of frogs.
I've
battled the frogs this year.
I've had leopard frogs, but these are I think they're called Tennessee gray tree frogs. And they range from gray to gold. No. The cat's trying to get on the keyboard. Back, please. Okay. Sorry. He was like trying to come from behind the camera to get on.
I love them.
But from green to browns, they're all smaller than my pinky finger now. And so I just thought I'd pull a little video real quick together and put it up.
They're really cute. The frogs that I have are just normal. I think they're not even frogs. I think they're honestly toads, but they have been laying eggs in my tubs this year like no other year I've had. And one of them, it might be bad to say, I kind of let some of the tadpoles grow up a little bit because they weren't messing with it was the guppy tub. They weren't messing with the guppy fry too much, but I was using them as food for the freshwater lionfish upstairs. Because I had so many of them that I honestly couldn't get them out as like little bitty tadpoles. There's so many of them. So I just kind of let them grow up. And then when all this quarantine stuff hit and I couldn't go anywhere, I just used them as food and it worked. But yeah, I've had an overabundance of. I haven't had too many problems with the dragonfly larvae this year in the tub. Like a few other years when I didn't know what they were and I like dropped them in purposely in the pond. But yeah, frogs, the tadpoles, but they don't seem to be messing with anything or eating too much, but you never know.
Yeah.
No. But how many tubs do you have?
I have 210-gallon tubs.
Do you?
And I tell you, they've done so well this year.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about doing maybe like 6 more next year.
I had 2. I think I've had 2 the last couple of years, and this year I moved up to 4 30 gallons, but I don't fill them up all the way for the rice fish. I keep them pretty low. And then I have 2 300-gallon tubs and then the pond outside. And I am contemplating, I wanted to keep them outside with heaters just because it does get a little bit cold here. And I know that they are, like the rice fish, they enjoy a little bit colder water, but freezing, I don't think they'll do so well. But I know I've gotten a few comments about bringing some of them inside and some of them outside with heaters just to see who does best type of thing. Because we have a room down here that we don't even use that I can just toss them in there, clean it up, toss them in there with the light and just keep track on them, feed them. But I don't know. But the bigger tubs, they're just going to have to stay outside because they're too heavy. But the mosquito fish were wild caught by Jesse and his uncle. So they're kind of used to it. And then the white cloud minnows, I think, will be okay because they're in such a big tub. And I do have one of those they're huge, one of the bigger heaters that I can put in there. But the pond, I just use a de-icer. It's not a heater, but it just keeps an open spot for the gas exchange. And they always do really well. So I hate to bring them in because everything breeds so well outside, but I go back and forth. I'm so indecisive. One minute I'm like, oh, I'm going to bring them in. Done deal. And the next day I'm like, no, I think I'll leave them outside. They'll be okay. So I don't know.
I'm worried. I'm afraid to go too long.
And I don't want them to crack, the tubs to crack, because in my head I have to think of every worst scenario possible. So I don't know. Because you get it probably a slightly different winter than I do, but probably pretty much this kind of similar. When it's cold, it's cold.
Well, actually, Chattanooga is so different from Missouri.
Oh, is
we're right on. Yeah,
okay.
It's only snowed one time in the 3 years I've lived here.
Oh, really?
And it was 56 degrees when it snowed. I was outside in my shorts and bare feet taking photos, and it was coming down. It was real thick, so it looked like a blizzard. But
I figured it would be kind of somewhat similar. But
look, I don't know what the cat's doing. He sees something up there. He tried to do a jump.
It's fun to watch them just sit and watch. Their tail wags.
I don't know what he's doing.
We've been getting more ice than snow the last couple of years. We've had a few kind of minor snows. It gets cold, but not like some of the other people in the fish fam where I feel guilty. I'm like, that's okay. It's not cold here compared to them. But we've been getting a lot more ice than just overall snow. And that ice, there's really nothing you can do.
Oh, I hate the ice.
Let it run its course, but things are starting to the temperature's not been so hot. You can tell that the temperature's starting to get a little chillier, but it's about perfect, honestly, temperature-wise, but you can tell it's getting a little cooler. More in the 70s than 80s and 90s at night still, because it was still staying pretty hot there for a while, but it's not too bad.
I didn't think I would adapt to the temperature as quick as I have, but I really have. It's like in the 80s, I think, right now. I'm not for sure. I hardly went outside today except for the frogs. Let's see if it has a temperature on my phone.
Yeah, it's been a little rainy in the morning the last couple of days and then excruciatingly hot because it rained. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But we're trying to, Jessie's little one's, her birthday party's coming up and she just wants to have like one friend come over for a backyard eat type thing. So we're trying to tear down the pool. But this is the first year that well, one, we didn't know what was going to happen with her birthday, and two, that she doesn't really want to plan anything real big. So I don't know, but we're trying to get all that cleaned up prepare for the fall, get all the summertime stuff torn down, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
But it seems like my fish room, like everything's good. Everything it seems like is doing okay, but I haven't been down here as many hours throughout the day. It's usually sometimes when the kids are at school, I just sit down here all day. Like I don't want to do anything else. But it's kind of been working on a few other things here and there.
Oh, how is school working in Missouri?
Everything's back to, they have to wear masks, but everything's pretty much the same. But each day it seems like we get a new email about a new something. So I don't know. The rumors that something's going to happen soon with it and it's going to change, but I have no idea. But my little one, I tried doing the virtual school stuff, but he listens better to a teacher. And so I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. Each day is something. But it seems like the high school and the junior high there's a lot more cases there than the elementary school. So I don't know. We're just trying to get through it.
Yeah.
And my sister's the teacher, not me. So, yeah. I tried. I failed, but he's doing really good in school. It doesn't seem to be affecting him. He's had 2 spelling tests and he's got 100 on each of them. So he's doing really good. It seems like he's handling it really well from his point of view. But the only thing, his stepsister goes to the same school now, and he's disappointed he can't play with her at recess. They have to.
Because they're different grades?
But they're different grades, and you can only play with your own class at recess. So I guess that's one of the only changes. They can't just play with whoever at recess. They can only stick with their own class. But other than that, he seems to be handling it way better than I am. I don't want to get up early any more than they do.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, not too bad, I guess. It could be worse.
One of our schools here, the high school, tried to come up with a solution to not let it go all over. So they have the kids split up 4 different days, or in quarters. Monday a group comes, Tuesday, but then on Friday they have all of them show up.
Yeah, they were going to do something like that here too for a minute, but I guess it got turned down, or they were going to have an A group and a B group, and one went this week and the other went this week. But
well, that makes more sense than having them all show up at the same day.
Yeah.
Why don't you just have them all the time then?
Mm-hmm. But if they're all going to be together anyway. All I know is I'm glad I'm out of high school.
Oh man, I wish I could go back. I loved high school.
I didn't mind high school. I didn't have it that bad in high school. I was just kind of I floated to whatever group I wanted to talk to, I talked to, but it took a while to grow into my ears and my nose and my forehead. And I was so painfully shy that everything I wanted to sign up for, I just chickened out and didn't sign up for anything. So I guess in that aspect, I kind of wish I would have went to more group activities, but I'm glad those days are over. I'm so much smarter now.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. But I know dealing with Jesse's teenagers enough for me.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I just miss playing the sports. That was what I loved.
Yeah.
But I was I was in all the sports, but I hung out with all the nerdy guys.
Yeah.
I was also on the scholar quiz and things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the few clubs I did was science club. That was one of the very few things that I did do, but it was in my upper years. I didn't do it the whole time. I wish I would have. I wish I was braver to just speak. But I was one of those painfully shy kids that everybody thought was kind of stuck up, and it was just because I was so shy. But I wasn't in one particular group. But my high school wasn't abnormally big either. I think there's 300 of us in my class. Now that's a small class for where the classes are a little bit bigger, but
I graduated with 76.
Really?
So I was in a lot smaller school even than you had. But when I was in Kansas City, my junior high had over 2,000 kids in the class when I lived in Kansas City. So I went from this mega giant school district, Park Hill, to a little bitty one, Columbia, Illinois. And that's just on the other side of the Mississippi River. So I was still real close to Missouri.
Yeah, my parents sent me to a couple private schools here and there when I was little. And one was like a self-paced school, and there was only like 10 kids in the entire school. So I went to a few different ones. I went to a Catholic school for a little while. I went to all these, but the public school, it wasn't. Now the class sizes are huge. But when we went there, it was not, I guess it wasn't small compared to your class, but it was small compared to what's coming through the high school. Now they had to do a whole remodel on the high school because there's just too many kids.
Yeah. Now, did you and Jesse go to the same school?
Yeah, we rode the same school bus.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, he was 2 years. He graduated in 2001 and I graduated in 2003. So I
graduated in 1992. In a different century.
It's all right. I got buddies there. I understand.
It's funny.
It feels like a lifetime ago, though. It seems like the world was so different.
Yeah.
But
I loved fish then too.
Oh, I did too. My room, I painted it. My mom, she hated it. Oh my gosh. Every time she went in my room, she rolled her eyes, but I painted it like this color blue. Then I took green and painted like seaweed stripes, and then took like sticker decals of fish and just put it everywhere. And I cannot draw. So the seaweed that I attempted to draw on the walls were horrible. And then I had fish tanks in all of the corners. And me and my sister shared a room, and then we split it down the middle with bunk beds. So she painted her side like bright pink, and my side was guppy snails in this makeshift attempt of an ocean scenery for like ever. I was so into it. And then on swim team, my nickname was Fish because of swim team. But I wasn't a very good swimmer.
You just liked fish.
Yeah, I just liked fish, and that's where it came from. Because everybody that came over was like, your room
is really fishy.
But I love it.
Well, Ed, you got top. Mr. Fish, sir, said 1987. So you're beat, bud.
Yeah. Well,
you're out.
You know what? I've had lunch with him, and we talked about that. I shouldn't have brought it up with him in the chat.
Yeah, I'll say you got nabbed on that one, bud.
He is a tall dude too. He's like 6'6" or 6'7". He's a tall guy. He's super nice.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you guys planning any other meetups soon?
Yeah. I was going to bring this up to you guys. We're going to be going to Indianapolis again at the end of the month. Yep. And Haley can tell you all the details. But
I feel like I heard something about something that you were talking about not too long ago on the streams about a few people were planning on going, but I couldn't remember if it was like a swap meet or
it is
kind of like bring some money and there's a bunch of booths for sale, or I couldn't, but I didn't care. I just wanted to go.
Look, I got a cat mic. It's foot. But no, it's a swap. What they do is they all park in front in a parking lot, and they just open their trunks and they have all their fish. Come on, buddy, not so close.
I feel like the Massai's doing something here in the next couple of days too, the Missouri Aquarium Society, but I need to research. I've been kind of out of the loop because everything's been closed down. I kind of got out of the habit of checking, but I feel like something's coming up because I want some new guppies so bad. I feel like I love my guppies and I love all the live bears in the fish room, but I really want, and I don't care what they are. I don't care if they're mutt guppies. I don't care if they're like high-end guppies. I just want some new guppies.
Yep. I understand your pain. I do the exact same thing.
Like, because do you have a bunch of fish stores around you, or do you just wait once or twice a year to go pick up something at a club meeting or something like that?
Well, I've got fish stores here in town. Well, actually, I do have one in town that's just like really bizarre because I live in Dayton, which is just north of Chattanooga. I like living in small towns.
Yeah.
But I found this fish store called Ponds and Plants. And the guy who owns it, he makes habitats for zoos across the country.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and he just said, I got all these cages. I might as well sell stuff out of it. So when you walk in, it's like walking into a pet store from the 70s.
Oh, that's fun.
Because it's gigantic and they have anacondas. I mean, it's crazy. Wow. They got everything. And the smell hits you. It's just crazy. It's like, I don't know if I'm in heaven or House of a Thousand Corpses, when you walk in. But it's fun. So I've got that one here in town. But it's not like a normal pet store. It's just really out there. But then I've got like a couple local places that I really like. The problem is I don't like getting any guppies from those places because they never sell, true strands or strain. Yeah. They never have the females with their gorgeous boys. And so I normally always buy from hobbyists.
Yeah.
Or breeders.
Well, there we go. Thank you, Rich.
I can see something. Read it. My eyes. You can read.
Massey's this Sunday.
Is it? I knew it was coming up.
Members only.
Mm-hmm.
Where at?
I feel like it's in like a park. I feel like it's in another parking lot of probably like a hotel or something.
It's in St. Louis somewhere. I gotta find it.
They usually have it at the Holiday Inn Express or the Holiday Inn. I'm assuming it's probably. But like I said, I haven't looked. I just heard someone in the background. I put the live streams on, and then I was like, "Oh, I need to." What did you just say?
He said, "If you're a member, check out the Facebook page." Yeah, and there you go.
How about if you were a member 10 years ago? I was a member throughout my 20s. Actually, 20 years ago. Gosh, I'm getting old.
Well, I had no idea there was something like that at all until I started talking and listening to all the live chats and channels and stuff like that. I had not a clue that there was aquarium clubs, especially near me. So as soon, it was like not even a year into doing this whole YouTube thing, I tracked it down and I was like, I'm signing up.
Oh, for sure.
And the club meetings are always kind of hard I haven't gone to any of the specific meetings because they're during the week and it is still 2 hours away. And then with the kids in the school night, but any type of get together on the weekends or anything like that, I totally try to go at least because they're fun for both of us. The auction thing.
You're getting called out now, Ed.
Well,
Rich said he'll spot you the $15 membership if you can make it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, the advantage is my Chiefs have already played this week.
Yeah,
I know.
I know.
I was like, since when do you watch football? He's like, it's the Chiefs. I was like, again, when do you?
Hey, what do you think? Football? What do you think of that new running back? Set new records, man. New records.
It's awesome as long as he doesn't take too much away from Patrick, because I got a whole bunch of those wide receivers as my fantasy players.
Yeah,
but no, he's awesome.
Yeah, but now they got a well-rounded team. So if they're shutting down Tyreek, then we can go short game with Kelsey and him. I mean,
I know
what he did.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Look how good he is.
She has no clue, folks. No clue.
I watched the Super Bowl. I watched the Stanley Cup, and I'll watch the Cardinals in the World Series because they'll make it. Hopefully, if we can win if the Cardinals can win, that would be something that you wouldn't see every day here in Missouri. Because the Blues won, the Chiefs won, now the Cardinals have to win.
What about the Royals?
Well, I don't watch them either.
I'm a Royals guy.
My sister and her husband are all about it. And it was so funny when they started dating. She was talking about the NBA draft, and I was like, "Oh, wait a second, since when did you care about any of this?" But now she's all into it, and they've been married forever. But I watched the Cardinals growing up. I did follow the Cardinals pretty religiously. I had their calendar on my bedroom wall, and I mark if they won or lost. But that was about the only sports team I followed was the Cardinals. I was all about them. But
well, I grew up half my life in Kansas City, half in St. Louis.
Yeah, and we have some sports fans here on both sides. Like Missouri in general, we like our sports.
Yeah,
we do.
And I do like the Cardinals. So I'm not trying to be negative. And it's just the Cardinals win all the time, it seems like.
Yeah, I'll plan like a little food party for the championship of whatever, but it's really just an excuse to eat. Like, yeah, let's watch it. And I'll watch the commercials and eat. That's about it.
Hey, we need people like you. We appreciate people like you.
He's a really good, he does the barbecue thing. So I'm just there. I'm like, that's really good. I'll watch. We're going somewhere tomorrow that we've never been. And our neighbor, it's like an Amazon return. Like this building sets up and they have a bunch of Amazon returns. And my neighbor keeps bringing me aquarium stuff every day. He's like, here's a pump. And it's like one of those
submersible pumps for like an outside pond, or you could use it in a very large aquarium.
Yeah, and then the other day he brought me a really
nice can inline them
adjustable aquarium heater, and I was like, I must go to this store. But it's I think it's even outside. I don't even think it's inside. But they have like these tubs, and he's like, you just go and see what they have. So I'm on the hunt tomorrow morning for just random aquarium stuff.
Every Friday night
but everything's $7, and then it drops to like $4, and then next Friday whatever they have left over from tomorrow is like 50 cents, and it's all brand new stuff. It's never been opened.
Yep, it
was all brand new, and I was like, just the little like attachments on that pump would have saved us some heartache a couple of months ago if we would have had all those attachments. So I'm kind of, I'll let you guys know what we find if there's any goodies. But each time you go, it's something different. You might find something really cool this week or next week. But I'm on the hunt to see if there's any good goodies for aquarium.
You two need to videotape that.
Yeah,
will videotape it and just see what, it's a flea market, and you have no idea what you're gonna find.
That would be awesome. You have no idea. You have no idea.
It's just, he said it's just big bins of
just everything.
Whatever. And you just got to comb through it. They get a brand new shipment in every Friday night, and it starts off at $7 on Saturday morning. Anything that's there, and then works its way down to 50 cents to the next Friday.
Could you imagine walking in and finding some brand new aquarium pump for 50 cents? I'd be like, oh my gosh. This stuff is so expensive, and to find like a cool deal like that, and it's not open. The stuff he brought me was brand new. I was like, wow. I was like, I don't need it right now, but just the fact that you brought it to me, my neighbor is bringing me aquarium stuff now, I feel really privileged.
Well, if there's anybody in here that is near Missouri, Rich has posted the address, membership fees, everything if somebody wants to go to that swap on Sunday.
Aquarium store, help me also binge whenever I get out.
And if Rich is that close to there and knows anything, we definitely need to hit you up on some aquarium stores in St. Louis that we could possibly maybe even film or do something cool.
And next time, Ed, you're in Missouri, you better be calling me.
Well, I'll probably be coming sometime in December to visit my brother.
I will make room in my schedule just for you.
Well, that's cool. Well, like I love the swaps, and I actually was looking at their different events they were going to have in Missouri. So I was planning on going to at least one of them this year if it wasn't for the whole COVA thing.
I know. So. I never know. It seems like generally our area is doing pretty good, but at the same time, you never know. But I'm such a homebody that when I can go places, I don't want to go anywhere. But now that I can't,
I want to go.
Why all of a sudden this is a problem for me to stay home? But I always do. Like, I haven't even been eating out, and for like that's big for me.
Yes. Unfortunately, she likes junk food.
Well, I like Panera and Arby's. I'm not gonna lie.
Which is all right, but it does not beat my barbecue. Yeah. I got a cooler upstairs. I'm brining ribs right now, pork steaks. That's why my son came over. We have a big friendly competition going on tomorrow.
At the Ain't Fair.
Yep, they call it the Ain't Fair because years ago in Missouri, there's a fair. They had a barbecue competition. They always said the judges were rigged, so we moved it, and now it's still called the Ain't Fair.
That's awesome. Missouri, I miss Missouri barbecue so much.
It's good.
Down here, they like to use vinegar and mustard in their barbecue. I'm allergic to mustard, so that cuts half the barbecue out.
Yeah.
And vinegar's just not that good. I miss molasses. Did you put molasses or brown sugar in yours?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, that goes in part of my brining process, some of it. And then
I love that sweetness.
And then, but you probably won't like it because I'm a Southern boy. I hit a lot of my barbecue with a little bit of vinegar. A little bit.
You see, we swap spots.
Yeah, I don't do the mustard thing. I'm not big on the mustard thing. I'm big on the vinegar thing. But you can't overpower it.
As long as it's food, I'll eat it.
Well, and I say that I don't like the vinegar. I eat it. If it was gross, I wouldn't eat it. But I miss that sweet tang.
Well, see, and that's how I balance my molasses and my brown sugars with my vinegar.
Yeah.
That's how you keep that little bit of tang in there. Is the vinegar, and I use a combination of apple cider vinegar and rice vinegar. I don't use just one. I don't use old school white vinegar or none of that.
My contribution to the process is I bought him the barbecue grill.
Yeah, she did, folks. Yeah, you can give some love to Carrie. She bought me a super, super nice.
I could cook a little bit, but he's the better one. Well, in the last couple minutes, do you have anything coming out that you want to promote or live stream? You're live streaming pro. When's your next live stream?
Oh, jeepers. Yeah, I do them all the time, it seems like. I enjoy it.
I know you're so good at it. You're such a pro.
Oh, I don't know about that, but thank you. Tomorrow night, I'm with James on it's not Nocturnal Fever. I don't know what our show's called on Fish Room Fever. Just go to Fish Room Fever.
The anonymous one.
I think that might be his Thursday thing too. I don't know.
I get them confused, but I try to watch all of them. I promise. But I get the names of which dates confused. But I love your guys' live stream. Like, you guys together, it's a really good show, and you guys do an amazing job. And keep it up because it's very entertaining.
Well, we're a lot like you two. We just keep it straight and honest. We don't pretend. We're like two goofy guys. That's exactly how we go all the way everywhere. We just drive around. And I mean, we're a lot more goofy when we're not on camera. Like Dan was laughing the whole time he was with us during his trip. But I do that with James. We're kind of like, I like to think of us as like a DJ team, and so we're a team. And then on Tuesday nights, I just started with Petzotics with Diego, and that's at 8 Central, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. I guess. I'm terrible with
The
time.
time zones.
Yeah, it's terrible. Literally, the time zone is 10 minutes on the or 10 miles from me. So it's really confusing. Because if I just go on the wrong side of the mountain, I'm in a different time zone. But so I do that with Diego. And then today I do a show right before your show every week with Lefty on the Lefty, and I'm not for sure his numbers. He's got like some numbers. And that's a show where we talk about anything and everything. Today we actually talked about fish. But normally we've talked about superheroes. We talked about Harry Potter one week. And I've seen 2 Harry Potter movies.
I used to camp out at the bookstore all night for the books. And they would always come out for my sister's birthday. So I would camp out all night. And then I'd go home and wrap it up. And I'd give it to her as a present. I'd wait all night for her to wake up and be like, oh. And I would spend hours at Barnes & Noble. Hours. I'd get there at like 6. And then it would release at midnight. And it was such good memories, Harry Potter.
Well, this is my memories of Harry Potter. I took Kristen, an old girlfriend, to the first Harry Potter because she loved Harry Potter, and we broke up afterwards.
Oh, no.
And I didn't watch another Harry Potter until the very last one, and that was on a date.
I didn't watch the movies till later on, but I loved the books, and she would always give them back to me. She would read them, and then I would get them after. I'd have to wait till she would finish reading them. But standing in line for hours talking about Harry Potter with all those people were so fun.
Well, God bless you.
I'm with you on that one, Ed.
I'd get so excited to like give her the book for her birthday. I don't know why I'd get so excited. And then she would read it like 3 times. It would be destroyed by the time I got it, but I finally got to read it.
Well, James's wife is a fanatic for that stuff. And like I could ask her how many staircases there are in that house or whatever, and she knows. It's
that's how my friend Michelle, when we used to talk back in the day, she's an older friend, and she knows everything. And I loved it, but I'm not that good.
Well, in that live stream that I did with her and Lefty, my goal is to offend her as many times as possible. I pretended not to. I pretended like I knew less than what I knew.
Yeah,
just for fun.
That's how Michelle was. She's like, you know that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Starting it off. That's funny. Who's on next?
Ohio Fish Rescue is next. And
wow. Wow, I'm like in big league time here.
I think they started 2 minutes ago. But
oh gosh.
This Sunday, I'm actually having a special live stream at 4 Central, 4 Eastern time, 3 Central time, my time. And then with Big J's Fish Keeper. So if you guys want to tune in Sunday, I believe that was the opens. It's 4 Eastern time.
Is it going to be yours or Big J's channel?
On my channel.
Big J's awesome.
Yes, I'm very excited. He keeps them pretty amazing.
That's going to make going to the swap really difficult.
Yeah. And then next Friday at this time, 5 o'clock, Kasha from Creative Pet Keeping is going to be on the channel. So if you guys want to check out those 2 live streams, Sunday and next Friday, I'm super excited. Thank you, Ed, though, for being here. It was exciting to talk to you. I learned so much from you every time I talk to you. So thank you. And you teach me how to be a YouTuber by watching you guys be professional YouTubers. So thank you.
I think you have more subs than I do, probably by like a million.
You know what? Everybody subscribe to Ed because he knows way more than I do.
Oh, no.
I try. I just try to share what works for me and just why I love fish and the hobby. You guys keep me going. There's some days where I just don't feel like I know enough to be a part of the community, but at the same time, you guys keep me going. So I appreciate it. You guys are awesome, and I learned so much. So thank you. But do you want to say anything? Say hi, bye, welcome, thank you.
Bye. I got a lot of barbecue to do. Folks.
That's all he could think about is he was rushing. I gotta get this done.
Yeah, I got 3 more hours of prep work.
Yeah, go take care for the kiddos.
Rich T, I will meet you next year. I will go to one of the swaps or something in St. Louis, I guarantee. So.
Oh yeah, he blew that up on the back end. Thank you so much.
I knew it was coming up in the next couple of days, and it might even have been Rich T that I was reading comments in another chat. I knew there was something coming up soon, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get to go or not. But hopefully, I want to go to a fish get together soon.
You should go. Well, if you can get there, you would have so much fun.
Yeah. I'm excited to live chat. I don't normally live chat on Sunday, but I feel like this is going to be a good one. So tune in. And I guess thank you again.
I'm out. I got barbecue to do, folks. I love you.
Check out Big Rich.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. I'll see you next Friday and this Sunday. Thanks.